Hey everyone, what's up? It's Yigal, and I hope you had an amazing, amazing weekend. Uh, I had some fun with the daughters. Of course, mom is still in the hospital, and we appreciate all your prayers and your support and all the love that we're getting from the pawn community. And I wanted to come on here, of course, to share something that happened today on a call and over the weekend. I love sharing with you guys because I'm still on a mission to help 1,000 pawnbrokers make more stress less and live an epic life. So if you're watching, let me know in the comments so I know that you're here. And we were having a conversation today in one of the groups that I coach for the Pawn Leaders Alliance. And we were talking about, I don't care if you spend $40,000, $50,000 on a big LED sign and a really nice letter sign or whatnot. People don't drive by and just say, I'm going to go walk in there out of curiosity. It happens rarely. It does happen, but it happens rarely. People are on the phone. People are stressed out. People are trying to, get to work, to get their kids to school, as schools are opening up, and so much more, that the thought process of us believing that people are going to see the sign and it says Yigal Pawn, I'm going to go check that out and see if I can go in there, or see if I'll buy something. It's really a lot harder than before. There's so much bad news. There's so much technology in the person's hand. They're listening to podcasts, hopefully. They're listening to the radio stations, KPBS, the news, that looking up and saying, I want to walk into a pawn shop will seldom happen. So what do we need to do as pawnbrokers to be able to get people to walk through our doors? Now, you have people like Scott Nell, who's on this call, and who is a beast at social media to get people an attention. And then I was talking with 4 or 5 people, and one person who said, I've had the highest income I've ever had in the month of August. And when the reason being is because they're making noise. What do I mean by that? I am totally against the looters and the rioters. I mean, just ridiculously against it. I don't care what side you're on. I think people breaking stuff and everything that's going on is disgusting. But they're making noise. It's negative noise. Some of it might be positive, but it's negative noise. But they're making noise. They're making you noticed every single day. Why? If the looting stopped today or it kind of went down and tomorrow big news happened, what would happen? People would forget and they'd go and just squirrel. That's the syndrome that people have. People have the squirrel syndrome. They look at the shiniest object and what's going on. And if you're not consistently the shiniest object, you're going to lose that person's interest. Now, it's not easy, but people have done some amazing things to make this happen. We had a pawnbroker who had a ice cream truck come by. We were talking about how back in the day, we would do like tent sales, like parking lot sales. And we saw that people would walk in and say, hey, how long have you guys been in business for? And we would say, we've been here 16 years. And we would ask, how long have you been living in the neighborhood? And they'd say, I've been in the neighborhood 22 years. And if that's ever happened to you, let me know. Because what happens is people are driving by your store. I don't care, location, the best sign in the world, whatever that is. If you don't give them a reason to step foot into your shop, they're not going to do it. Unless that reason is that they need money. And then again, they might not even remember that there's a pawn shop in the neighborhood. You've got to give them a reason to walk in. You've got to, and my father did this so brilliantly back in the day because he would give away free donuts and free popcorn, and he would make noise for people to walk in so that if they walked in and they didn't do business with him, guess what? They still received value and they got a donut on the way out. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to think about, are you making enough noise? Are you making enough, are you using a megaphone to really show your presence in your neighborhood? Or are you just hoping that people see you and walk through the doors? Back in the day with my brother, we would spend thousands of dollars to have booths at, street fairs. And I don't know if we did this on purpose or what it was, but we would always think to ourselves, how do we get the attention of people walking by? We would go to street fairs all the time, and we sat down and we would think, what would make people stop? And so what we came up with was one of those cash booths, right? Where you put in all that money into a booth and people would spin the wheel for their opportunity to go into the cash booth and money would be flying around. And we realized that having money flying around, we were the most popular booth at the street fair. Sometimes having 30-minute waits for people to spin the wheel and get it. Now you think, well, who's going to do that? See, the reason being is because in psychology, you have to do what's called a pattern interrupt. And when you interrupt a person's pattern, let me go back. What is a person's pattern? When somebody leaves their home, they're on a mission. So they drive from home to work or from work to the grocery store, or whatever that is, and interrupting their pattern for them to stop, see your sign, and say, I've heard such great things about pawn shops or this pawn shop, or I've seen them online. Let me take a moment to step inside that. And a pattern interrupt looks like where you interrupt what their drive is like, right? For example, one of those guys that are blowing in the wind, an LED sign that says something different, an ice cream truck, a line of people outside your store. That's a pattern interrupt. Because when they see that, they question and they ask, what's happening there? And I have a friend who's a nightclub promoter. And I would always ask him, I say, man, why is it such a long wait to get into your nightclub all the time? And he would say, Yigal, it's not such a long wait. Nightclub promoters just do that on purpose. Because we might have 20 people inside with a capacity of 200, but we want you to think that we're packed. We want you to think that we're busy. We want you to think that it's hard to get in. I also learned this when I was in women's retail. I used to work for a store in BB, and they would get a shipment of women's pants, let's say, and they'd get 30 of them in, but they'd only put 1 or 2 of each size. Why? For scarcity. They wanted you to think that they don't have more back there, so you should buy this now. Some of you put out the same, shotguns, pistols, or thousands of chains, and you want to show that you do have merchandise. But if you don't give them a reason to buy, they're not going to buy. Right? So again, on a scale of 1 to 10, if you want to give it in the comments or if you're listening to this live, let me know what you think. Are you doing enough to pattern interrupt the people driving by or watching your Facebook Live or listening to your commercials, whatever marketing that you do, for them to want to stop, drop what they're doing, and go to your store? Because if you're not, you want to double think that. And it's funny that so many people in the pawn industry don't measure their ROI on their marketing investments. They don't measure, man, that tent sale that I did, man, that giveaway that I did, what was the ROI, the return on investment? And if you're not measuring those things also, you're doing all this in vain. But think about it. What gets your attention? Why do you think people in the mall give the free samples of chicken? Why? Now, somebody asked a great question. They said, are we ever doing enough? And let me ask you this. It's not about are we ever doing enough. Is this in the thought process of breaking somebody's pattern? If it's not in the thought process, then you're not even doing in the minimal amount to have people stop by and go to your store. Because just saying that you loan the most, you pay the most, you sell for the least doesn't tickle my pickle. It just doesn't anymore. People have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of bits of information being showed to them on a daily basis. I mean, tens of thousands. For you to stand out, and I say this all the time, epic results take epic actions. I was so blessed to work with my brother who agreed to these crazy ideas, who came up with some of these crazy ideas. I remember back in the day, we bought these 2 huge burners, like camping burners with 2 big pots, and we would boil hot dogs. And when people would walk in to do a transaction, we'd give them a hot dog. And it would cost us like 75 cents or 75 to $1. And they'd be like, wow, I came in for money to feed my stomach and you just gave me a hot dog. I wish we had Google reviews back in the day. I really, really do, right? So this person says, we used to participate in town parades and throw a handful of foreign coins up in the air. When it hit the ground, all the adults would go crazy and start scrambling to collect them while the kids were gathering the candy. It was a head turner and great PR for our business. Yes. So the question is, we used to participate in town parades. Well, what do you do now that town parades don't exist? What do you do now with COVID and the pandemic? If it's real or if it's not real, I don't care what you think at the moment. But you have to think of ways to interrupt the pattern. Because if not, there will be so much overwhelm and you're going to be so angry wasting your marketing dollars, not knowing what that ROI is, not knowing why isn't this working? Yigal, please tell me. I had somebody reach out to me yesterday. Yigal, our sales online, our eBay sales aren't working. Well, of course they're not working. Do you know how many more people always tell me, Amazon's making so much money right now? Yes, but online retailers are crushing it right now also. Those online guys who are selling stuff on Amazon, they're making money hand over fist. But you still need to do something to interrupt that pattern. And just because you have the biggest sign, the lighted sign, it doesn't matter. Why should people walk into your store? Why should they buy something from you? Why? Because I give the best customer service. So does 15 other stores in your area. I have the best prices. So do 20 other locations in your area. We're the friendliest. So are 15 others. If you don't differentiate yourself and make somebody be like, whoa, hold up a second, that's different, it's never going to be different, right? And Todd Ingram says this at a post, that my online gun sales are up 300% compared to last year's. Yeah, agreed. But I also want you to think of when those gun sales dry up at some point, do you have people walking through your store? Are you getting those online gun sales people's information so that you can market to them again in the future? Right? Are you capturing their information to be able to send them an online coupon to buy from you online? You have to think about these things as strategy, because what's happening now might not happen in 6 months. Just like what used to happen 6 months ago isn't happening now. But make sure that when you think about your marketing, you're thinking, is this a head turner? If you're just sending out mailers in the mail, let's say, how is it differentiating from all the other mailers that people get? If you're doing a radio ad, how is that differentiating? If you're doing a Facebook post, how is it differentiating from everybody else? If you want to learn how to differentiate, then write something in the comments for me. Let me know. Just say, post different. Because there are methods of thinking and mindset for a marketer that if you don't do it this way, you are just flushing your money down the toilet. And you're getting frustrated as to why things aren't happening the way you're planning them out to be. If you're frustrated, I want you to get over that hump and actually start creating marketing and strategy that starts working for you so that you can make more, stress less, and live that epic life. If you want to be different and make different amounts of money, right? Let's think about that. I want to make not more money. I want to make different money, like just 10x money. I want to make different amounts of money. That's something I've never seen. Somebody in one of the courses today said, I've made more money this last August than I've made ever being open the last 7 years, even over Christmas, even in the last 4 months of COVID, from implementing some of the information that you've taught me. When somebody named Moses, who said, I don't know how this isn't like known information to every owner and manager. Like they need to know this information. And in order for me to be able to change the pawn industry, I've got to be able to change your mindset. Somebody reached out to me yesterday. They said, Yigal, I want to learn from you, and can you help me? I said, sure. Here's my course coming up And they said, I don't have the time to learn. If you don't have the time to learn, you don't have the want to grow. I'm going to say this again. If you don't have the time to learn, you don't have the want to grow. Because if you had the want to grow, you would make the time to learn. When things weren't going well for us and we had to grow the business and make more money, we made time to learn. Woke up earlier, went to sleep later. We gave some of our work to other people so they can do, maybe it wasn't 100%, but they did it to 80% efficiency. And that was okay with us until we learned how to implement some of these amazing strategies. And your business isn't going to wait for you to learn. Your customers aren't going to wait for you to get better. Your team sure as hell isn't going to wait for you to grow as a leader. They want it now. And if you don't give it to them, they're going to walk into the guy across the street, 5 miles down, or in the next town. Honest to God, we had people driving 45 minutes to come to our pawn shop. 45, not even the same city. So if you become an epic leader, a marketer, and a strategist through the things I teach in the Boost Your Pawn Balance course, I know you'll have people driving from other areas to you. But you've got to make the time and have that mindset. So if you want to make it happen, we're starting a new course this week, I believe. Next week. We've got the graduation for the last one this week. Just write Boost in the comments. I'll reach out to you. And when I reach out to you, just answer the question, see if it's a good fit. But understand that you've got to make the time to learn. And if you can't make the time, I'll teach you how to make the time. We'll teach you time management using the Pawn Planner and why it works, and delegation, how to lead your company so that you have the time to implement the strategies that you learn. So with that, I'll leave you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, love you all. Again, I've got space for 10 pawnbrokers to learn how to grow their marketing, their leadership, and their strategy so they boost their pawn balance and their pawn business to make more stress less and live an epic life. Right? Boost in the comments and I'll reach out to you. Thank you for watching. Love you all. Take care.